Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Ups Wearables Tutorials. It's really been a while since we uploaded a video. It's due to circumstances beyond our control, but we are back now. And I really want to thank those that have been supporting, those who've been offline. We've been seeing your subscriptions. I say thank you, thank you, thank you. And for those that have been sharing our videos, commenting and liking, we are also grateful. Okay, today we are going to be making a 6 pieces short gown. 6 pieces short gown, something like this. You can see. Okay, we are going to be cutting this dress. All right. Now the measurements we need for this dress is the shoulder measurement, the shoulder to bust, the shoulder to under bust, the waist measurement, the hip, and the shoulder to knee measurement. The shoulder to knee measurement. Of course, you need your bust measurement as well. All right, I'll be cutting out this dress with a pattern paper. I'll be cutting it with a pattern. You can see on my table, this is a basic gown that I've already marked out using my client's measurement. So the shoulder is 17 inches. I'll just have to go through this so that we'll be on the same page as we progress. The shoulder is 17 inches divided by 2. We have 8.5. Then I added extra half inch for sleeve allowance. Then the armhole is 9 inches from the shoulder. The shoulder to bust is 10 inches. That is the first line you can see. This is the shoulder to bust measurement. The shoulder to under bust 14.5 inches. The shoulder to waist 16 inches. The gown is going to be cut together. There's not going to be any half cut, so that is why you can see the progression of the line. So the shoulder to waist is 16 inches. To hip we have 25 inches, and then 3 inches above the knee. It's going to be a 6 pieces gown, and the flare is not going to start directly at the knee to allow the client for easy movement. So I came up a bit from the knee measurement, which was 36, to 3 inches above the knee, and I have 33 inches. All right, so the full length of the gown is going to be 41 inches. So from where I have my new measurement is where I'm going to be adding the 6 pieces flare for this dress. Now it's going to be a short one, just like the way we do it on our skirt. 3 inches above the knee, you can now extend in a triangular form, adding the flare to the pattern. All right, so the vertical line we can see is a nipple to nipple line. Her bust span is 9 inches, so divided by 2 we have 4.5 plus half inch for seam allowance, and I took it down from the shoulder to bust area to where I have my new measurement. Okay, from the start, the dart is a shoulder dart. So for us to determine our shoulder dart now, we've already marked out our neckline. As you can see, I'll be working with a neckline of 4.5 by 4 inches. I've already curved it. So for my shoulder dart now, I'm going to be dividing the remaining part of my shoulder, which is 4.5 inches, into 2. 4.5 divided by 2, marking it here. So that should give us 2.75. So this is the midpoint of the remaining part of my shoulder outside the neckline. So from here, I'm going to make a straight line to my bust point. So if it were to be a princess dart, you have to make your dart from the armhole. This is the armhole, but this is going to be a shoulder dart. So like I said, divide the remaining part of the shoulder by 2 and connect from that point to your bust point. Now it's not a bustier blouse. I'm actually working with a scuba fabric, a thick stretchy fabric. So we are going to measure our dart now. So on the under bust, or you can extend it to the waist, I'm marking 1/2 inch on both sides, just the way you do your normal dart. You can use 1/4 depending on how many you want to use, but I'll be using 1/2 inch. Then from my waistline, I came down by 3 inches. 3 inches from the waistline, and this is where I'm going to be ending my dart. So I'll use my ruler and connect it this way. So this is where my dart is going to stop. Okay, then I'll now connect the 1/2 inch from my waist to the bust point. So this is what we've got. Now remember that before we join this back, we are going to be needing like 1/2 inch to join the shoulder back. So what you do is to come to the shoulder line. Initially we had 9 inches, but because we are cutting out this dart from here, you're going to be adding extra 1 inch, so that by the time you finish joining the dart, it will still, the shoulder will still balance. Okay, so I'm shifting my shoulder line by 1 inch, then I'll retrace the armhole. Then extend my shoulder slant. Okay, so we have a new armhole. The initial one was the main armhole, but because of the shoulder that we have here, we have to shift the armhole by extra 1 inch. All right, so the next thing to do now is to place our measurements on the paper, then cut it out, and then use it to cut the complete gown material. Okay, so the client's bust is 42 inches. 42 divided by 4. Okay, now we are going to be placing the measurement on the fabric on the paper before we now cut it out. The bust is 42 inches. Divide the bust by 4. We have 10.5 inches. I'll be adding 1 inch to this. That should give me 11.5. Okay, so the waist is 41.5 inches. Divided by 4, I have 10 point approximately 4 inches. Then I'll go ahead and add my dart allowance, which is 1 inch, so we'll be having 11 points and make it 11.5 inches. Okay, the hip is at 44 divided by 4. 44 divided by 4, we have 11 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark my 11 inches plus 1 inch. This extra 1 inch is for the dart allowance, because this dart is also going to go down by 1/2 inch. You can also take it down from the waistline to where the new measurement is. So I'll be adding the normal allowances on the fabric while cutting. So because it's going to be a 6 pieces, and when it comes towards the new area, it has to give the client a little bit of shape, pencil kind of shape. So since I have 12 inches here, I'll be marking 11 inches on the new line. So I'm taking out 1 inch, and the fabric is a bit stretchy, So I'm taking out 1 inch. You can also take out half inch, depends on what your client wants. So connect the lines. So remember, I've not added my seam allowances yet. The 1 inch allowance I added is just for the darts. So by the time I'll be cutting it out on the fabric, I will then add my sewing allowance. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut this out. Okay, so here we have our basic gown ready to serve as a pattern for our 6 pieces gown. This way is much more easier. But if you want to cut it directly on your fabric without pattern, you can still go ahead with that. Then check our video on how to make a 6 pieces blouse without pattern. I believe it's going to give us a very good guide. So for this, that I'm not going to cut. Okay, let me go ahead and cut it. I wanted to use it for the back, but let me go ahead and cut it so that we can see how it looks. So this is what we have. So I'm going to place this on my fabric now and use it to complete the gown. Okay, now we have our fabric and our pattern paper on top. So I used pin to hold it down. Now remember, I told us the full length of the gown is 42 inches. So this is my 42 inches plus 1.5 inches seam allowance. So from where the new measurement stopped, which was 3 inches above the new, I'm going to be giving it a straight line, connecting it to. Okay, so excuse me. So this is the full length, which I'm going to connect to the new part of my gown. Just the same way you make your 6 pieces skirt. Now I can go ahead and trace this out or just cut it like that. So before I cut this, I can go ahead and add ½ inch to this for the joining allowance. You can use 1/4 inch depending on how many inches you want to use. So I can now go ahead and cut this out. Remember, this is the center front of our dress. So for the flay, I added extra 6 inches. The 6 pieces flay is going to be about 6 inches on fold, and 6 inches on fold, when you open it, is 12 inches. Okay, so now we have our center front. You can still use this for our center back, just to add the zip allowance. Okay, this is our center front. So we'll keep this aside and go ahead to cut the sides. Okay, so about cutting the side front. So what I did was I'll be adding extra 2 inches sewing allowance to the dress. Remember, we did not add it on the pattern, but we are adding it now on the dress. So since I folded, since I'm using 6 inches for my flay allowance, I had to fold this about 8 inches, that is plus 2 inches seam allowance. So 8 inches, then I placed the pattern paper, and also I added my extra 6 inches for the other flay allowance for the other side. So I'm going to add my 2 inches or 1.5 inches sewing allowance. This fabric is somehow stretchy, so I don't need too much allowance. I'm adding 1.5 to all the sides before I now add or connect it to my flay allowance. Please don't forget to add your seam allowances. So for this kind of fabric, 1 inch to 1.5 inches is okay. So this is my new length on the fabric. So from here now, I'm going to repeat the same thing I did with the center front. Just make a connection to the length of the dress. So I'll shift this a bit and also connect this other side down to where the flay will end. So this is what we have for the center piece. I will extend the armhole. I don't need to make another curve extension, just extend the curve this way. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut this up. Okay, here we have the side pieces of the front. So we are going to go ahead now. I'll still use this to cut out the back. It's not a bustier blouse, gown rather. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. Then add my zip allowance. Okay, here we have the center front, which I've placed on my fabric to cut out the center back. I've already given out my 1 inch for zip allowance. So the back neck line and the front neckline are not going to be the same. So the front neckline was 4.5 by 4, and the back is going to be 4.5 by 2. So the back is going to be a bit higher than the front. So I'll just go ahead and cut the same shape out. Okay, so I'm cutting the center back using the front pattern, but when I got to the bust area, I did not curve it the way the front was. I just went straight because you know the back, there's no bust to give any kind of shape at the back. So I'll go ahead and cut the other side. We've already added our sewing allowance to the center front, so there's no need adding it again. Side front. So for the sides or the tail end of the dress, I'm going to be making a little slant just to reduce the sharpness around this edge. You do same to all the sides of the pieces. Just make a little curve and cut it. Alright, so thank you for watching. The video is already becoming too long for easy upload. We'll be stopping here, and the second video will continue with the sleeve and the sewing of this dress. So if you're new to our channel, please do not forget to subscribe, and don't forget to follow us up. Click on the bell to get notified when the second part of this video will come up, so that you don't miss out. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.